using AI, I find that the most interesting use cases are to create more efficiency in the marketplace, is how I talk about it.
I'm not a fan of AI automation. I'm a fan of AI-based quality. I'm a fan of using AI to enhance the quality of our work.
This is the annoying answer, but I really believe this to be the truest answer. Start building stuff. Just start getting in there and building stuff. The best experiments that I found are ones that are creative and thoughtful.
Welcome back to Unfuck My Startup. Last week or a couple weeks ago, I heard about a guy making or having like a retainer fee of 10K a month, and he was only sending 80 emails a day for his client. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, what is going on here? So my ears clearly perked up, hopped on the phone with him. His name is Brenden Short. He's the founder of The Signal. He is here today as our guest. The crazy thing is, Brenden was telling me that he basically decreased the amount of emails he was sending by 10x and then 20x his reply rate. So if there's anything that's going to make a former sales director or just marketing guy have his ears perk up, it's coming from Brenden. People are already dropping saying The Signal's a great newsletter. So obviously we had to get him on the show today. Brenden is a go-to-market engineer. He is here to walk us through step-by-step how he built this incredible workflow. He's going to share his AI-powered strategy for getting 20 times the positive replies with 10x less sales activities. Okay. 20 more times results, 10 times less the activities. It's all about doing more with less. This is the future of outbound. Brenden Short, welcome to the show, my friend.
Wow, thank you, Pete. Appreciate it. Yeah, somebody said must be selling private jets. Can confirm it is not private jets on discount that I'm selling. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to talk about AI and how it does not mean spam cannons.
I'm extremely excited for this because as I look throughout all the different SaaS startups and people starting go-to-market companies and products and starting up motions, it's all about AI automation. And I'm not a fan of AI automation. I'm a fan of AI-based quality. I'm a fan of using AI to enhance the quality of our work. So we're going to dive into all this in just a second. Before we do, this is, you mean more isn't more. That's exactly right, Wes. When more isn't more or less is more. So we're going to do our pitch slap section. So this is our classic kind of intro, Brenden. What we do, we're going to call somebody up. We'll have people raise their hands as you see them starting to get raised. What the audience member is going to do is pitch the rest of the attendees. I think there's like over 500 today. Pitch them. Yeah, 503 right now. They're going to pitch them their business or pitch us their business. We're going to give them 2 minutes. We're going to call them up. There'll be a panelist just like us. We'll be able to see their face and everything. Make sure you have your camera on, whoever's coming up. And we're also going to have a running poll. It's going to say yes or no. So along with people trying to book demos, we're going to have the running poll. Yeah, camera on, camera on, camera on. Everyone make sure the camera is on if you're raising your hand. And John, you want to go ahead and pick somebody who is raising hands here?
We are going to bring up Joe Meyer.
There we go.
He is coming up.
And what I will ask of, come on down. That's right, Joe. Love that. So Joe, if you could also drop the URL to your website in the, hey, Joe, you can drop the URL to your website in the chat so everyone can pop over to your website. That would be great. And then we will put 2 minutes on the timer. And after that, we'll have you drop your calendar link if people are in. So.
All right, there's website, digitalvisor.com.
Thank you.
We are before AI was cool and automation was cool, we were doing automation, primarily accounts payable automation and different types of automation. We've also got a ERP company where we, bring in the entire back office. So everything from HR, financials, payroll, everything on one integrated platform, kind of like a NetSuite, but gears more towards SaaS companies and product-led or product-based companies. And so challenge, do you want to hear my challenge? You want to hear more about what we're doing? So we've got
pitch the audience. Try to get somebody to want to put time on your calendar.
Yeah, so we've got most companies have a hard time with revenue recognition and having multiple systems to drive their back office. And so we're one integrated platform for the entire back office. So we've got companies such as Arribas Brothers, which is a Disney partner, and they've got 30 stores, and we drive everything from their point of sale all the way back to their warehouse management. We've got SaaS companies that have probably 20 different systems that they're providing to their customers, and all that usage-based system has to come back to one system to do billing. So we took them from 3 weeks and 3 people to get all their billing information to literally on the 2nd of every month, we hit the push button, and on the morning of the 3rd, all the invoices are sent out electronically and people can pay their bills that way. And so I've been a serial entrepreneur 4 times, built and sold them. And this is the hardest one we've ever had to do. So I'm curious as to how to best go to market more efficiently, and talking about product-led growth and what we should give away free, because we got a lot of stuff we can offer versus what we charge for, and implementation fees. And it's that's the proverbial challenge we're having. So
Awesome. Well, thanks, Joe. Now, also, Brendan's going to talk to us all about like finding these, niche within a niche, micro campaigns, all these great things. So I think the info he shares today is going to be great. If you could drop your calendar link into the chat, if anyone is interested in digital visor, hit Joe's link. Joe, thanks so much for coming up and sharing with us.
thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
John, you removed Brendan instead of Joe. Joe, you want to co-host?
Sorry, I'm fixing
and
that
I,
right now.
I'll
Sorry,
go.
guys.
All right.
I'm one of 9 kids. I can do anything. Yeah.
There you go. 4 business. You said 9 kids? Oh man. Joe, run it.
Sorry about
we'll
that, guys.
Yeah, we're good. More Joe, 9 kids. You are a champion, Joe. All right, we're good.
Brenden
Respect to
Short.
Joe.
Brendan's coming back, but we lost him in the attendees. So give me a second here and we'll bring him back up.
Someone said, to be honest, it's a little weird having him sell people aren't in his ICP. Well, we don't quite know that, although that is the goal, right? Is to kind of angle people who are pitching more towards our ICP. But yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Should we have people like apply beforehand? I have a link for the Unfuck My Startup section. Would that be easier? Okay. What I'm going to do. So yes, apply beforehand. Okay, guys. All right. I get it. Let me drop the, I'm going to paste this form to the Unfuck My Startup segment section. You can apply for both the Unfuck My Startup section and the pitch slap. So let me share that while we're pulling Brenden back.
Pete, what's happening is we're waiting for Brendan to re-sign in, and I'm gonna add him back in. So just give it a second. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all good. We'll filibuster. Is there any subjects that we have not talked about on here that people want to? Is this recorded by any chance? Yeah, it is. It's going to go live on YouTube. It used to go live in the morning. Then following morning, we just hired a YouTube producer or YouTube editor, I don't know, whatever you want to call him, consultant. And he's helping make this show like YouTube friendly. We're also launching a second recorded show. It's going to be all recorded, not live, more highly produced. Adam and I will be in the same room. And yeah, John's actually here this week helping me set up the studio. So this is my first time. How about break down that email that hooked me? Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of attendees. I mean, that's it's this whole more with less thing. All right, first timer. So the other thing, guys, Adam is usually here. He is usually the host. I am the co-host. Brenden Short's back. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. Adam is the co-host, or the host. I'm the co-host. He is at a executive offsite right now. That's why he's not here. Someone said, what is the hook for the email? All right, here is the subject line. I'm dropping it in, guys. $10,000 per month for 8 emails. He's booking 5 times more demos. ... That's it. I'm getting strong Mufasa vibes from Pete. Ian, it's my new microphone, man. That's what it is. I swear. It really brings out the sort of the more bass and tenor notes, I think, in my voice. So Simba, that's, you mean like adult Simba, right? Not I think Brenden Short. All right, let's dive into it, baby.
We're at capacity, huh?
Yeah, we're at oh, is that
Let's
what it
go.
was? We were
Yeah.
oh my
I couldn't
gosh.
get back in. It said we're at capacity. Let's
Go.
go.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
We
so
broke it. It was so
sorry,
we were just
Brandon.
talking. It's the subject line that really got everyone. $10,000 per month for 8 emails. He's booking 5 times more demos. That's what got everyone in. Nick said, "Good problem to have." Yeah, we're doing our best here. So guys, let's not waste any more time. Brenden, let's
jump
dive
into
into it. I hope your heart rate's going down after the exit and re-entrance. Mine would be I get anxious about that kind of stuff. All right. So Brenden, let's dive into it. You are getting pretty crazy results. You're sending about 8 emails a day. We talked about this idea of micro campaigns, and that's really exactly what you're doing. So for people who don't know, can you please describe what micro campaigns are to set the stage here?
Yes, absolutely. And again, just to reiterate, AI is magical. It's incredible. There's a lot of buzz about it. I actually still think it's very early, and I can't really be more bullish on it. I think we've got many, many years to go. So, I have no AI course to sell you. I just like AI. If you're not already playing with it in your daily life and professional life, I highly recommend it. Using AI, I find that the most interesting use cases are to create more efficiency in the marketplace, is how I talk about it. So instead of having to send 10,000 emails a month, how do you send 8 emails a day and get even better results? And I think this is better for buyers, it's better for sellers, and it's better in general. There's this concept that I've been talking about called a quote unquote micro campaign. There's 3 things about it. So number one, it's a highly targeted list of say 50 to 250 contacts at a time, super small list. These lists are generated using very specific filtering and or signals. Oftentimes this is using an AI agent to get what I call rich data. This is data that's not in a traditional B2B database like Apollo or ZoomInfo. So, and then the third one is, we'll come back to that one. And then a third one is it's relevant this week, but will not be relevant next week or next month. So I forget, was it Michael, the gentleman who was just up here pitching his startup? He's selling Joe, sorry, selling stuff that to me it sounds like, a new CFO would be interested in this to help create more efficiency in their books, as one example. So it's like for Joe, I would probably just go reach out to companies that are getting a new CFO or hiring for a new CFO and reach out to them then. In 6 months, they probably already have their stack set up. It's not going to be a good email to go reach out with.
And when we're talking about starting these two, I know you said 50 to 250. Historically, this audience, 70% are founders sub $3 million in revenue. We have some pre-rev folks. We have some people higher than that. We got a bunch of growth marketers in here too. Actually, I'll phrase this as a question. When people are starting out, numbers wise, where should they start out in that range? 50, below 50? I mean, what does that look like?
Lower the better. I mean, I think, if you've got a list of 50 people, you're going to reach out to 10 of them a day for the next 5 days, right? Like it's a relatively small number of people. What's tricky is I wouldn't look at, so again, let's go back to this example of CFOs at, I don't know, the Russell 3000 list or something like kind of quote unquote big companies. It's not like you can run a list and say, okay, I want the 50 people on this list. Like you're kind of, you can only have a list based on the data that is relevant this week. So it's not like you could say, hey, I need 50 companies that are hiring a CFO this week. Like you're at the mercy of the data. And so that might be 18, that might be 59, I don't know. And so that's how you would kind of come up with this list. It's sort of dependent on the data. Let me give you can I give another quick example of a micro campaign?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so this would be another one. This is where we use Clay for this. You can use kind of anything. Clay is kind of a steep learning curve. So if you're an early stage founder, I don't know that I would necessarily go like buy Clay and try to use it personally. There's a bunch of other tools that you can use as well. Clay is amazing. It's incredibly powerful, but I just think there's a steep learning curve. But we use Clay. Basically, it's a spreadsheet of a bunch of data. And so an example of one is like, we want to look for SaaS businesses. Again, there's typically not like a SaaS checkbox in ZoomInfo or Apollo. I want to also look at companies that have raised 5 million in funding. I want certain titles. This is basic stuff. So these are all like normal filters, but rich data. You're layering these on top of each other. I want to see anybody that's engaged with either marketing content or LinkedIn content that I have put up as a founder in the last period of time, let's say 30 days. And then this is for a company that has a pre-vetted database of sales candidates. The trigger event, the thing that's timely is the company is currently hiring for AEs. And so we have a custom agent, Andreas Warnke, who I work with, shout out Andreas, built this specific workflow in Clay and built the agents to go out and search for hiring data of AEs. And if that is true, then we want to basically, again, we're using all those different filters, and then we're trimming down that list, and it's a list of a certain amount of people every single day and every single week. And I'm going to send an email to the VP of sales, and I'm going to say, hey, saw you put up a job rec for an AE last week. Here are 3 candidates that I think would fit the criteria that you're looking to hire for. If you want to learn more about our pre-vetted database of candidates, reply back and let's chat. What's interesting about this email, 2 things. 1, if I send that email in a month or even in a couple of weeks, it's likely that that VP of sales is going to say, hey, I just hired an AE. I wish you had reached out to me a month ago. So it has to be timely. The second thing is, and we can talk about this, is the quote unquote offer. So it's what I'm giving them. I'm proactively, permissionlessly sending them 3 candidates that are very valuable to them. The question you want to answer here is like, what is the thing that you can give away for free that you could theoretically charge money for? And that's where it's like, I don't want to ask for a 30-minute demo. How do you do anything but say, do you want to spend 30 minutes on a demo with me? And that's a really good offer.
I want to get into that, like the sort of what is the call to action besides, hey, give me a call. So actually there were some questions in the chat. It was like, you know, are you worried about everybody? Where was it? Okay. It says, Brenden, are you worried that the AI wave you and others are riding right now will fizzle out anytime soon when every dude and his grandma grabs a board and joins the ride? So I actually view this as like doing the opposite of what the pack is doing right now. We're trying to do that with our B2B a little bit too, from like a branding perspective. That's a different story. But essentially what you're doing, you're trying to find these data points that go outside of what, Apollo or Zoom Info is going to get you. And you're trying to enrich them with data points that really identify if somebody is in market. I mean, the old statistic is 95% of your audience is not in market right now, right? So we're using rough numbers, of course, but if you've eliminated, or if you're doing 10 times less activities than other people, you're basically trying to eliminate everybody who's not in market right now and trying to pull out data points that set you apart from the rest of the pack. Everyone's just grabbing, some industries, some company size filters and just spamming the heck out of them using automation. This is the opposite of that. So you're really doing it to increase quality exponentially while decreasing quantity. So let's get into a little bit more of so a micro campaign. And I'm a big believer in, it's like, whether we call it micro campaign or whatever, like I think a good offer these days needs, like, you have to give something away for free. You need to provide value before they're talking to you. Otherwise, they're not all that incentivized to accept a meeting with you. So like, what have you found from sort of those? I mean, there's of course tons of things you can give away for free. You can give away your product, you can give away a widget, whatever it might be. What have you found to be working well? And I'm sure that's going to be a few different answers in there.
Yeah. So the thing I would say, kind of like the worst thing to think about is, and sometimes actually it's very powerful, but at the basic level, I would think about giving away like a case study or a guide or a checklist. What is a guide or a checklist? What's something that you do in the first 30 days of onboarding that you can put together as a checklist and give that for free? And it's like, you probably could charge $2,000 for that thing. Give that away for free. It should hurt a little bit to give away for free. I think that's like a very general solution that a lot of companies should be able to come up with. Another way to answer that question would be like, if you're a founder and you're trying to make some cash, what would you consult around? That's the thing that you probably should put into like a one-pager and give away for free. Try to think about that. The level up is like nuanced for your business. And it's hard, like it's not going to be a general solution. Actually, I can't give you a generalized solution. So in this case, it's, you know, that this company has a pre-vetted database of candidates. They, you know, sending 3 candidates to somebody that is actively hiring AEs, that's like a very valuable thing. But that's obviously not relevant for our B2B, for instance.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be in the same vein, by the way, as like micro campaigns and using AI. The best experiments that I found are ones that are creative and thoughtful. And I actually do think that there's like a lot of staying power in using AI in these thoughtful and creative ways to come up with experiments. I've seen people do like a kind of a microsite using AI. It's like software for restaurants, and you can kind of one-click generate a website using AI to see what your website would look like if you used their software. So that's another like crazy idea of a cold outbound campaign that's actually very valuable to be able to see that and say, hey, your website's not currently SEO optimized. With our product, it is. With one click, within 5 seconds, you can see what it looks like, and you can see the lift of what it would look like if you use this product.
Yeah, I'm trying to. So at the same time, I'm trying to grab these questions. They're coming in so fast today. But I want one thing I just want to emphasize is on these micro campaigns, you are essentially you're giving them a taste of the product. So in the context of this job posting one, you know, you're actually giving them candidates from the database, and then you're saying, hey, I have a lot more candidates, right? So you're actually like, you're almost starting the product demo or product experience during that outreach campaign, which is awesome. And the other thing too, I like about this way you phrase giveaways. Now, if anyone was here last week with Wes Bush, we were talking a lot about product-led growth. The offer and this sort of product-led enrichment at the end of this micro campaign, I believe a huge component of it is like, it's not this general checklist. It's not this general article or PDF or ebook. It's a specific, like hyper-targeted deliverable, or not deliverable is the wrong word, but like hyper-targeted incentive or product or whatever that only those people can actually action on right now. And it's truly, truly valuable to them. So I really like that. Okay. Dave asked, it likely varies product to product, campaign to campaign, but when you're deciding the non-database signals you're using to target folks, how do you decide what those signals should be? How do we decide which signals to prioritize? I want to give a quick example that I've had previously at a previous company, and then I want to hear Brendan's take. But so Dave, I mean, that's exactly right? Like, it's like, what is your magic data point? The way I've looked at it is like, what is the ideal candidate for us? And don't think about what lens of filters and, you know, whatever are available on Built With or Zoom. It's like, what are we actually getting at? So at a previous business of mine, or that I worked for, we were saving people money on shipping, e-commerce businesses specifically. We were saving them money on their FedEx and UPS bills. And really what we needed to know is like, how much are these people spending on UPS and FedEx? Well, there's not that information is not public. You know, the volume, you can't just like go to somebody's website and see that. So for us, it was about setting proxy metrics. It was like, well, we can assume that if they're if they have a shopping cart and are using one of these, handful of e-commerce platforms, plus they have web traffic over X, it's likely that they're selling a lot of goods. So that was my example of that, of like trying to find a proxy metric. I want to hear if you have any advice for the group on how to find these kind of magic metrics that AI can assist with.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's hundreds of these. Like I would basically say some of these are like kind of signals, more or less. There's hundreds of these signals. I would think about 2 things, which, by the way, can I put a blog article with, this is just like a curated list of signals. I'll put it in the chat here. You can pick through this list and see. This will give you a bunch of really interesting ideas. I'll share a few of them really quickly in a second. The other thing I would ask is like, this is a question that I'll ask a founder or a sales leader, is like, if you had, and many people kind of in the space will ask this question, if you had 30 minutes to research a company, what would you look for? So Pete, to your point, if you had 30 minutes to research one prospect and you could do that or unlimited time for all of your prospects, what would you do? You would go look for that specific data. You would look it up. You would try to figure out like certain things, certain proxies, technology stack, but then some other things as well. Anything like that that you can write down into a document effectively, you can have an agent built and trained on that information. Or you can have just like a scraping solution that can go get some of that data. So that's how I would think about it. That's like the best thing to go after is, again, it's you know, it's an annoying answer, but there's not like a generalized like, hey, this is the best signal to go after.
Yeah.
It depends on your business, right? And there are generic ones, like should you be going, you know, should you look at high intent website pages on your website using RB2B? Of course, you definitely should. If somebody goes to your demo request page and they don't hit request demo, like this kind of abandoned cart concept, should you be reaching out to them automatically? For sure. Should you be tracking champions from one company to the next? Of course. Should you be, you know, if you sell into VPs of IT, should you be tracking any new VP of IT at your top 2,000 companies? Of course. Like these are kind of basic, I call these evergreen plays that are just always on and always running. Then you want to layer on this other set of kind of quote unquote micro campaigns. Think about this as experiments. I think about it as like a portfolio of bets. This is like in the venture capital world, they make 20 investments a year in a portfolio. 19 of them go to zero and one of them hits, but it pays back the fund, quote unquote. So it, you know, it's a 100x fund returner. That's how I think about these experiments is like you want to be running these experiments quickly and then figure out what works and then figure out how to kind of scale that.
I saw a question too about someone said, what if your account list is massive? How do you go about segmentation? It feels to me like the way to go about it is like figure out what makes somebody a fit, figure out what makes somebody in market, and then try to combine those and grab like 20 people or 50 people who fit those. I mean, start small in the beginning and just start throwing stuff around to see, you know, what replies they get. As Brenden said, he spends like 20 to 30 minutes on an email. So it's, you know, I say this, I think every week, but I think I'm in like the top 1% of people's ability to mark emails as read, knowing it's a sales email. I think it's like one of my best skills. I wish I could monetize it, but I can't. And that's what you're, but like, there are also people who slip through, who I open the email, I go to their LinkedIn, I go to the website, and it's because it doesn't look like a sales email. It looks like somebody trying to help me. It looks like it's somebody sending me 3 candidates, you know, that when I just post, it's that same type of like right value at the right time. So
can I say something else just to add to that?
Yes.
I also think to that, I have a very strong belief that the message does not matter nearly as much as reaching out to the right person at the right time. And I'll give you a very basic example. Right now, if somebody sent me an email and said, I don't know, do you want to take a look at our used Teslas? Let's say I'm in the market for a used Tesla right now. Do you want to check out our used Teslas here in Austin? And if I was in market, I'd say, yeah, sure. That email is very bad, right? Or is very basic. It just said, do you want to check out our used Teslas? The inverse of that is also true. So if somebody said, if I'm not currently in market for a used Tesla, if they said, hey, I see we both know Pete, you live in Austin, here's my favorite restaurant there, blah, blah, blah. It's amazing and personalized. Do you want to check out my lot of used Teslas? I would say, no, I'm not in market for a used Tesla right now. And so what you want to do is you want to figure out who are the companies and people who are in market for your product right now and reach out to them at the right time. Then the message is far less important, though the message should be basically built on top of that list. So again, in the case of this example where somebody is hiring an AE, that is the list. So the message is the list in that case. You are actually just saying, hey, saw you're hiring for AEs, let's chat, right? That message is very basic, but it's at the right time to the right person. And that's the thing that really matters.
Huge. I'll also add the right medium. I say that like the a successful channel gets the right message to the right person on the right medium at the right time if we want to keep compounding. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly this. People are asking, let's see this clay table, guys. We're gonna get into that in the second half. We're gonna have Brenden peel back whatever he can. I know he works with a lot of clients, so we're gonna have him just do a little bit of demonstration here. But it is time. Oh, and one other question. Someone said, "Can I get a recording of this?" We will post it on our YouTube channel. John will drop in the link right here. We're gonna put it on our YouTube channel. Usually, it would go live Wednesday mornings. We are working with a new YouTube editor to make it more YouTube friendly, meaning just more engaging if you're not here live. So we were waiting for those edits. It'll probably be live later this week.
We are on a 1 week delay, Pete.
Sorry?
It's a 1 week delay, so every other Wednesday now.
You heard him. Guys, you heard him. That's John Ely, our video producer. Okay, so 1 week from today. So you'll get last week's today, and you can assume how it'll work from there. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's the recording thing. Guys, it's time for the Unfuck My Startup section. All right. The way this section works is we are going to call somebody up. This is not the pitch slap where you're trying to book a demo with everybody. This is, hey, I can't get something to work. I'm stuck. If it has to do with outbound campaigns, all the better, because we have the maestro right here. We got some hands going up. So make sure A, your camera is ready. B, you have some problems specifically around, roughly around what we're talking about today. And myself and Brenden will give advice. We're going to give you 2 minutes to pitch. We'll have you drop in your URL into the chat, and then we'll do 2 or 3 minutes of advice. And then we're going to hop into that clay table right after, or, just a little bit more of a visual representation of what Brendan's going through. So, needs more than 9 kids. Joe, there you go. I'm 1 of 9. All right. People are getting a little, you guys are like, I don't know if people have been eating gobstoppers today, but everyone is like sugar high on this chat today. It's just out of control. I don't even know. I mean, it's, I can't even control this. So John, could you pick somebody from the list?
Bringing Ilya up. He's been very active in the chat.
Ilya. We have an Ilya on our team. He is in Serbia. I wonder if this Ilya is in Serbia as well. There he is. What's up, Ilya? Oh, it's spelled differently, though. Ilya.
Wow, I can't believe it. I feel like
How are you?
Right. This is great.
Yeah, heck yeah. Good to have you here. Before we start and do the timer and all that, could you drop your URL into the chat for everybody? There it is. I'm going to copy it.
Vanhack.com.
Vanhack.com. All right. In a couple minutes, could you tell us what VanHack is and what? Ilya, how many kids do you have? We got to see if we can break Joe's record from earlier in the show.
Yeah, only 2, so pretty behind there.
We're gonna have to boot you. Sorry. All right. No, VanHack. I'm on your website right now. What I'm gonna do is just share my screen briefly while you tell the folks what it is you do at VanHack, and then we would love to hear if you're stuck, why are you stuck? What's going on?
Yeah. So yeah, can I start?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so we help companies like Fellow. So hi, Mauricio, good to see you here. And about 1,000 other tech companies across North America and Europe hire tech talent from abroad. Sorry, literally just getting a phone call at the same time. Yeah, and our basically we have a talent pool of 500,000 software engineers that we vet for their English tech skills, and then we help companies hire either remotely, or we actually help people immigrate and relocate to North America and Europe. We have a fully built out software platform that you can do the entire hiring process, as well as ATS integrations. Yeah, I guess the biggest challenge right now is that we're kind of pivoting models, or that's the idea, is to change the business model from like a recruitment model, more like a recruiting agency, into AI tech recruiter model, where companies hire VanHack, pay us a $2,000 a month fee, and hire as many people as they want. So I'm having trouble switching from kind of services marketplace to SaaS. All the hires are direct hires. They're on your payroll. We're not an agency. We don't take a markup. So yeah, that's the kind of differentiator as well. Yeah.
What prompted that I mean, aside from a more attractive business model, was there a demand from the market that sort of perked your ears up and showed you that the current was going in this direction?
Um, yeah, I think the biggest challenge was that tech hiring has gone through a huge boom and bust cycle in the last couple of years. And when we were growing really well in 2021, 2022, we had to have a lot of recruiters join our team. And now that like the market's kind of scaling back.
Oh, wow. All right. Sorry, you can finish your thought. Sorry for that. Okay. Brenden, do you have any sort of pivot advice for Ilya? Now it's always difficult, like going on this road of customer discovery again. And, especially if you're going from a service model to a SaaS model. So, Brenden, this is, I feel like, right on the nose with your example from earlier. So
Yeah,
I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was not a plant, but that seems highly relevant. Definitely, I think makes sense if folks are hiring, like you should definitely go reach out to those people. I think if people, if companies are growing, if there's specific departments, I think that's another kind of low-hanging fruit one is like specific departments, growth by department. If you're kind of better with, I don't know, certain departments, you could go look for companies that are growing in a certain department. And reach out with that from that angle. Expanding offices, I think, is another one that there's kind of data on that. Yeah, those are like kind of the quick ones that come to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
How have you gone about getting your service customers, Ilya? Like, what did that motion look like?
So yeah, a lot of outbound, cold call, email, LinkedIn, although that hasn't been working too well. Meetups, events. I'm going to South by Southwest this week, so I'll be in Austin first time. And yeah, a lot of that. Referrals, and then some partnerships too, where we would connect with like Techstars or YC, and then they would or VC, and they would share us within the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So there's kind of a lot of things that are working. Is there any one clear winner that's just like beating everything else, or is it all sort of meshed into one broad go-to-market strategy?
Yeah, it's just been tough in general for this business in the last 2 years. Like that's part of the reason we're looking to, I guess, pivot or change the business model, because I think we need more. A lot of companies don't want to pay the 15% recruiter fee, so that doesn't that hasn't been working well. But yeah, before there wasn't any specific clear winner. I guess referrals probably, but that's not really reliable.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, let's dive. We're gonna dive further into Brendan's tactic here. I have a feeling this is like dead on a experiment you should run. Or something of the sort where you can showcase the folks that are in your, kind of SaaS recruiter database,
Yeah.
and do a very similar motion that Brendan's doing. So, it's hard to obviously fully diagnose without all the context, but I just, my feeling is that this is going to be very helpful for you. So, Ilya, thank you so much, guys. If you're, head over to VanHack. I'll paste the address in here. If anyone wants to a demo, we'll of course open you up. Ilya, you can feel free to drop your calendar link.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you, man.
My
Thank you for
calendar.
joining.
But yeah.
Take care. All right. Well, that was serendipitous, Brenden. I don't think we've ever had somebody come up for a section that was so dead on, where I'm like, hey, some of the advice is like, let's just continue on with the episode. So, pivots are hard. And the thing I like most about these micro campaigns is you do not have to invest a ton in infrastructure to experiment, right? The main resource limitation is creativity in my mind, which, it requires some coffee and some clear head, but, we've all got it in us. So I would like to move into this next section. Is there something you can share with us, whether it's, just a clay table, you can remove any, or whatever, ignore any sensitive information that might be in there. But let's hop into the specifics of how this is working so Ilya can actually see how he might be able to guys, the chat is just incredible today. I know I've been dropping jokes, but like, I mean, this is let's ignore sensitive data, guys. No, I didn't mean you, Neil. I meant Brenden. I didn't mean you guys. All right.
I'm gonna show, it's not the clay table of the customer itself, but it'll outline all of the data points and kind of where they're coming from, if that's cool.
Yes, please.
And then I think it'd be helpful. I'm just going to rattle after that. We'll walk through that. I just want to rattle off some other examples because now we're like really harping on this one specific example. But I put this into a slide. So let me just share this really quickly. Okay. All right, so this is an example of a micro campaign that we've been talking about. So SaaS, this is a custom AI agent. This is not in databases. Typically, they raise 5 million. We're waterfalling this from 3 different data sources. So waterfalling meaning PitchBook, Crunchbase, and I don't know, something else. And so we're kind of pulling all of those and showing the highest amount that they've raised is the amount. Right titles, this is basic logic. So these are there's basically 20 titles that, not 20, maybe 8 titles that they go after. So we have those different titles and variations. If you don't have that, Claude is your best friend there, or ChatGPT. You can get variations very quickly. Currently hiring AE or SDR. This is the custom AI agent with Server.dev, which is basically a Google search that Andreas built out. This is Andreas Wernke. You should follow him on LinkedIn. He puts out a bunch of really good content around this stuff. And then the other one in here is engage with marketing content in the last 30 days. This is your own first party data. This company in particular sends out a bunch of marketing emails. Even if you're a founder, like I was thinking this with Ilya, who was just up here, posting on LinkedIn, like that's great first party data. If people are engaged, I did this when I was a founder. If people are engaging, if you put up a post and 20 people engage with it, meaning like it or comment, like go figure out who those 20 people are. You can do this manually. It takes 10 minutes. What companies are they at? What are their titles? And if those are people that you want to have sales conversations with, go connect with them if you're not already. And if you're already connected, send them a message. Use that as kind of an intent signal. Okay, and then the final one is, once it flows through this, let's say there's 20,000 people that are flowing through this clay table. At the end of it, there's going to be 30 people or 50 people that are a yes for all of these different data points and signals. Then, and only then, do you go grab the email address and the phone number across multiple data sources for those 30 people. And so again, if we start with 20,000 people and it flows through this and it spits out kind of, we'll call it tier 1, tier 2 leads, we're only going to enrich, AKA pay for data on the contact level, like an email address and a phone number, for those 30 tier 1 and tier 2 leads. Then what we're doing is, in this example, for the tier 1s, we're routing those to a sales rep into a sequence on behalf of the sales rep who are calling and emailing and doing a LinkedIn connection and message. And then the tier 2s is an email only sequence from a different rep that is down market. And that is an email only sequence. And so again, this email is, like we've said a couple times now, you just put up a job rec for a senior AE. We have a pre-vetted database of candidates. Here's 3 candidates that I think would be a good fit. Let me know if you want to chat and see how our platform works.
And a couple things I like about this email. And guys, I'll ask about the subject line before you light me on fire.
Candidates for AE role. Straightforward.
What was the subject line?
Candidates for AE role.
Candidates for AE role. That's it. Nice and simple. Don't overthink them. Just
ideally 2 or 3 words, but sometimes you got to do a little.
Yeah, that's right. No fat on that. And then the other thing I like is there's no like, hey, Brenden, I hope this email finds you well. I'm Pete. I'm the head of blah, blah. It's like that. Like all I need to see is I hope this email, and I'm marking it as red. I'm never going to get in there. So everyone screenshot this. Look how lean this is. And he's actually giving them like value. Like this is actually like a PLG, not PLG, but like, free offer type of like value stacked email here. So, okay, that's great. Now-
Can I answer a couple questions in the chat real quick?
100%.
So it says
If you can
20,000
find
run
any.
through it. Yeah, exactly. How does the formula work? So all of this data that we're tiering out on the front end, 20,000, that's like basically $0. It's not exactly $0, but it's very, very, very cheap. Because in Clay you can build, you can use native integrations, you can use an API. So if you use Apollo or something like that, you can use an Apollo API, or you can use your own OpenAI API, and you can build your own, not even a kind of an agent, but like a prompt into OpenAI. So it's very, very, very cheap. It's hard to do. This is, again, Andreas Wernke built this one in particular. He's a wizard. I think this is where earlier in the conversation I said it's hard to get really good at Clay. This is an example of that. And it does significantly decrease costs if you do it this way, though. Other tools, by the way, somebody also asked about. This is with Clay, and then the email sending for this client is Apollo, Instantly, and Smart Leader, other ones in the space. Kind of the email sending is kind of downstream of the data acquisition side of things. I would say Sumble is another really interesting product. You can start using them for free, and you'll get value immediately. I have no affiliation with them. They look at job descriptions, which is really interesting for certain companies. So Technographics is incredibly good with this company. So like normally,
What's it called? Sorry, I want to pop the URL in for everybody.
Sumble, SUMBLE.com. So you can look up I don't know, if you want to integrate into SalesLoft. SalesLoft is not like, there's no pixel on a website, so programmatically built with would typically grab from a pixel on a website. So like Google AdWords is really good. But if you're hiring for an enablement person and it says, hey, your tech stack needs to be Tableau and Salesforce and SalesLoft, boom. Now you know that company is definitely using SalesLoft as part of their tech stack. And so this company aggregates all of that. They also do some wild stuff. This is the guy that created Kaggle, and which was acquired by Google. It's a machine learning product. So they're starting to do some stuff with like a cloud migration project. And so they can infer that from a job description. So it's like, I'm hiring a data engineer. We want you to help run our cloud migration to Snowflake or whatever.
So it's built with, but without the sort of source code scraping, and then adding in inferences based on job descriptions.
Yeah, exactly. You can do
All right, that's pretty
keywords, but they're
wild. I have
doing
not
some
heard about
crazy.
that.
Yeah, they're doing
That's
some. They're very
pretty cool.
early. So, yeah.
All right, I'm dropping that in. We have no affiliation. I just learned about it, so I definitely don't have affiliation, neither does Brenden. We're popping it in. This is all about info sharing. There is Sumble. The other thing, could you pop Andreas's
Yes.
his LinkedIn? We've mentioned him a few times. Let's pop his LinkedIn link into the channel here. I want to open it up to, I mean, we have so many questions and such a crazy chat here. Let's do a little audience Q&A. What do you think about that, Brenden?
I would love it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, here they come. All right, let me try to zone in on some questions here.
Can you have everybody just put it in the Q&A tab? That way it's easier to follow.
The Q&A tab, everybody.
There's 10 in there right now.
While you're pulling that up, what are your thoughts on LinkedIn for this outreach? Yeah, I think LinkedIn is great. If your audience is on LinkedIn, definitely use LinkedIn. Also do content on LinkedIn. Obviously, Adam is a good example of that. Founder brand, big fan.
Yeah, we're big fans of LinkedIn over here. Oh, here we go. Here's the Q&A. Okay. Let's just start. Do you see how to get there, Brenden?
Yeah, I'm in there. So
Okay.
you want me to just go through top to bottom?
Yeah, let's what's the name of the AE? Yeah, let's kind of just start ripping through some of these questions. That'd be great.
Cool. AE hiring platform is the AE hiring platform. That's with Bravado, is the company that's hiring AEs. I think that's what you're asking. Assume you don't find good intent signal and trigger reason to reach out. What do you do in this case? Oh, I don't know. Try to find an intent signal. The whole goal of this is, how do you find people that are most likely to have a sales conversation with you this week? Right. This is like highest intent folks. And
someone said, how many outreach channels is optimal for laser focused campaigns? They said 2 to 3: email, LinkedIn, phone. How do you evaluate that?
Basically, the boring answer is all the data points to the more channels, the better. It's like something like, I forget, 50. We did this. I used to work at Apollo and we had data on this. It was something like 50% increase for every channel that you add or something crazy. Yeah, more channels, but be thoughtful about it, right? Like where do your people live? Like don't blast them just to blast them. And
Especially if they don't live on LinkedIn. Like it's
yeah.
pretty clear when your audience doesn't live on LinkedIn. So don't try to force it just because everyone else is talking about it. It's not going to magically make your folks active on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Someone had said Clay versus Apollo. So those are two different platforms. I'll let Brenden elaborate on what that is.
They're both great. I think different use cases. I would think about Clay as more of like a power user, this kind of GTM engineer concept, or like somebody that's kind of orchestrating a bunch of these plays at scale. If you're a founder, I think there's like some basic workflows you can build in Clay, but Apollo has kind of good basic data on companies and people and sequencing. They have call recording. They have a bunch of great tools in there as well. So that's, I would just look at them as kind of apples and oranges.
Yeah, I agree. Apollo's kind of like the phone book. It's kind of the yellow pages of today, if you will. Someone said, we got this a couple times. What is wrong with HubSpot that pushes you to other platforms? I assume we mean for email here.
I think if you're doing low volume, HubSpot is good, actually. HubSpot is, I actually think HubSpot's very good these days compared to like Salesforce. And if you're a small company, if you're like a small mid-market company, I think HubSpot's very good. I think where it breaks is customization, some of the kind of like A/B testing functionality. I think over time, hopefully they'll build more kind of AI functionality, but today there's no real kind of deep concept of Clayagent and an ecosystem around integrations, that sort of thing. What would you say, Pete?
Yeah, so I think there's kind of along with this, there's some email infrastructure, a lot of questions going on both in the Q&A and in the chat. So the way I look at it, it's like this. Let's start with the smallest, the micro campaigns. What's great about micro campaigns is you can actually send them from your primary domain, from your real email address. You don't have to go through an email service. What's great about that is your deliverability is high. You get to send from your primary domain. You don't have to have all this infrastructure of, I don't know, 50 domains with 25 insurance domains once those get flagged, and like these seed emails going out and all of this different stuff. Like it's a freaking nightmare. And when it comes to HubSpot email, I mean, the reason people migrate off of HubSpot, in my opinion, is so that they can go even more high volume. Like that's why people go outside of Gmail, go onto replies and Smart Lead and all of that stuff, is to get super, super high volume. But for people, I think that high volume infrastructure is great for larger businesses who have a lot of in-market contacts to reach. But for, your sub 3 million founder, you're really focused on getting the next batch of customers, not the next 10,000 to show your investors that you're still growing, basically. So let's remember that. I know those large sort of strategies are so like talked about and sexy, whatever. What is high volume? 1,000 a day? Yeah, that's definitely high volume for sure. I would say anything that you can't, if you can no longer send them out manually, you're starting to approach the world of high volume. There's no hard and fast lines here, but yeah. Oh, we got Doug Skinner. Doug is a community member of ours. He goes, they're launching a $49 a month recurring revenue product. Would offering AI powered system to agency owners be a good place to start? I don't quite know the full question there, Doug, if you could elaborate a little bit, but like AI powered business system to agency owners, if it's a great solution, yeah. I mean, that comes down to the product in my mind. All right, guys, there's so many questions. I just here, let's end with this one. This is what we're going to end with. This was anonymous attendee, so outrageous in the chat today. Someone said tips and tricks for accelerating the Clay learning curve. I'm going to drop in the link for Clay University, which is their educational platform. Other tips and tricks that you know of, Brenden?
Yeah, definitely follow Andreas. There's a lot of really good folks sharing content on LinkedIn. Obviously, like this is the annoying answer, but I really believe this to be the truest answer. Start building stuff. Just start getting in there and building stuff. Build, can be small stuff to start. Clay University is great. They do Clay cohorts. I don't know how often, every kind of other month or something maybe. So you can go through a Clay cohort. It's free. What else? A company called Cargo has a GTM engineering Slack community. That's a really high quality spot if you're trying to become a super user of these new tools. But yeah, Clay University is the best place to start.
There's also some great, Stephen Brady mentioned Patrick Spychalski from the Kiln. We love Patrick over here. He's great. There's a bunch of great content creators on Clay. Really, Clay University and the whole thing they're doing is just having these agencies who are experts at it launch out their workflows. There's a ton on YouTube, guys. I think at this point, I think you can, I don't know, actually, I might get ahead of myself. I was thinking on Gemini, you can actually search for YouTube videos now and it'll recommend them. I believe on Google's advanced AI, maybe you can do that now. Maybe I dreamt that, but everybody, thank you so much. Brenden, thank you for joining, my friend, telling us all about the right way to use AI, the AI to beef up quality. I love it. Everybody in the chat, all the participants, thank you for joining. This was like a very lively episode. I love the energy. We're gonna have to up our capacity. I'm gonna as soon as we're done with this call, we gotta pay more to Zoom so we can get more folks on here. This recording will go live on YouTube 1 week from today. Everyone's complimenting your beard, Brenden. You got that like
wisdom
beard. It's looking
baby.
awesome. Yeah, the wisdom beard. Heck yeah, man. Guys, next week we have the founder of Boomerang. She's coming back. Mo founded Boomerang and recently acquired a business. Did a strategic acquisition, and she did not use any bankers. They used limited legal hours, and both her and the team they acquired are coming on next week. It's going to be 3 guests. Let's drop in the link for the YouTube channel. So come back next week. This, I think if there was ever a bootstrapped acquisition, if we could call it that's kind of what next week's show is. So Adam will be back next week as well. Thank you all. We'll pop in the YouTube link one last time. There he is. John got it. And folks, thank you so much for joining. And thank you so much to our guest, Brenden. Brenden, you were awesome.
Thanks
Super
for having me,
helpful for
Pete.
everybody here. We will see you all next week. Take care. Have a great week, everybody.
I think if we show up to solve on our calls instead of show up to solve, we show up to solve on our emails, show up to solve on our DMs, show up to solve on our posts, right? Teach me something. Build trust that you have a brain. All I'm prioritizing is revenue. That's it. So I'm looking at who we know, who can talk positively about us, who's well connected, and then how do I hit them?